Hi, you guys. I'm working. No, it's fine. Get your check-ins. Welcome in. Just have me in the background or whatever. I appreciate you guys checking in. We're just gonna play Pokopia. I'm literally probably only gonna stream for like an hour. I'm having some coffee. We're just gonna jump right into it, guys. I appreciate you all for being here. Welcome in. Good morning. All right. Okay. We had to move the Wasteland Pokemon Center. Oh, did we not build it? We wanted to put it over here. Okay, the game's a little loud. We Yeah, the Pokemon Center was moved. Okay, yeah. So we put it here instead, which I kind of like that the Pokemon Center's here. Then we could build more houses in that square. I think that'll be better, like a little cottagey town. I'm having a lot of ideas. Heck yeah! Now we can build around it. Look at that. Okay, I actually really like this, and I like the Pokemon Centers here. And the rest can be just like their little village. We're gonna have to remodel the train, guys. Are we surprised? But I think this is gonna be good for our train. Let's extend it more. So now we can add a house here, you know? Now they can stop crying. Should we build another building, or should we just expand my house to be just like a building? No, I think we should put another house down. Okay, well, I guess I should have stayed by the... Yeah, I think we're almost like the fastest. I forgot the controls for a bit. Ooh. Okay. Relaxing park, but I already have that. Um, should we just do one of these? No, maybe it should be a modern building. Like, am I about to redo my house again? Like, I like this building. But should I just make it bigger? And make it just like a community center, you know, like where all the Pokemon can stay? I think so. I think I'm just gonna extend this. Methinks. Okay, I think as long as I keep most of it connected, I can still build out, and then I can just break the walls in the middle. What do you guys think? I think so. I was also trying to make this even, so I guess the door should be here. Wait, is it one square? No, it's two doors. Maybe there's no door. Maybe we could just keep doing windows. Maybe we can move the door here. Everyone's so sad. No one has a home. I'm so sorry, guys. It's just not in the cards. Oh, wait. No, the doors can be here. This is center. And I have to keep adding stones. I have to, like, add a whole row of stones here. You know, after all that time of not knowing I didn't have space, and then I had all this space. Trash it. I love it. I hate it. Hi. You've been here 50 times in a row. And it's the same time. It's the same thing every time. How are you doing, Ali? Ali, I literally just said that I'm gonna have to redo my train. First, hi Ryan. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. We're really streaming for like an hour today. I cannot stream for longer than an hour. I have too much to do. But I wanted to hang out with you guys for a little bit or see if, you know, just it's available. Are we doing this Friday? I'm a wreck. I'm a mess. No, I'm just trying to keep my head on straight, you know, at the time. We have houses here. I don't like what I did with, I was building the stone around it to make it look like a cave, but there's gap, and I don't think I like that. So, as we see projects, we'll just merge with that. Excuse me. Like, we're gonna break all of this. Like, I think it's due time, you know? Like, I didn't like the gaps. Where's the mushroom? Girl, relax. You see me working. And if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? And all of a sudden, I'm the bad guy because I broke your lamp. It's a setup. Hey, Allie. Haha, classic ditto. Yo, Arbok doesn't know what he wants. Guys, I remember how I forgot how cute this, I remember how cute this game is. No, I forgot how. Guys, I'm just tired. You know, at the end of the day, that's just how I feel. Exhausted. Like, physically exhausted. I think we should add water here. Guys, I'm literally losing my mind. I think we should add water. On extreme away. Okay, I think if I do this, let's see. Let's see the mess I make. Can I go like this? The ground first. Okay, I drowned. Drowned them. We'll see. Okay, I broke into some of that. Nothing. I don't recognize anything. Oh my. Okay, maybe if I go up here. I hear it. I hear the water. It's right up here. Okay. So cute. Oh, so cute. I hear it. I want to break one of these up here. Okay. Okay, where am I? I'm nowhere near it. It's over here. Okay, I have to connect to this one. Guys, that was ridiculous. I was like, I hear water. I'm so close to where I was digging. I don't know what I done.
Who are you, people?
Hi, Taco. Welcome in. Oh my god, it's Taco. Good morning, guys. Who are you people? Good morning, guys. Good morning, Taco. Taco, you're streaming so early. I hope you had a good stream. It's been a minute since you streamed, huh? How are you doing? How are you? How's DVD? I was in there when you were playing Rivals. Like, I lurked. Like, I just opened up stream, but I had so much to do. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to connect this to the water. Yes, get your check-ins, guys. How's everybody? Wait, Taco, how was stream? Or if you don't have the time, feel free to like raid and run if you don't have the time to chat. But let me know. TLDR, how was stream? And I'm happy to see you back. I'm happy you're streaming again. Oh, I'm gonna drown. Oh no, I'm not. Guys, false alarm. Oh. I drowned. Okay. Yeah, get the check-in or else. It's that kind of stream. Oh wait. You died. Yeah, fully died. Guys, I got nervous around you guys. TLDR, killers were killing, and rivals were rivals. Heated. Ooh. Well, heated. That sounds fun. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to put this here, so now I can do this. Like, I'll build a little section. This is all I wanted. That's it. How cute. How cute! Hi, Hack. Hot tub. Exactly. Thank you for all the shout outs. Green, how are you? Wait, let me chat with y'all. Green, hi, welcome in. How are you doing, Green? Ronathan. Hi, Ronathan. Justine. Hi, everybody. The Burrito Bandits. You need a. Do you have a Taco? Do you have a burrito wearing like a cowboy hat and like a mustache? Because that would be iconic for that read message. I'm eating noms. What you eating, guys? This morning I made like an egg and cheese with some avocado. I need one. That's it. Write that down. Write that down, Taco. Can't stay long. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Of course. Go hang out. Go hang out with your family. Go enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. If we don't talk, you'll probably be streaming. Get yo. I appreciate the raid, Taco. We miss you. Hawaiian breakfast? Guys, I haven't had spam. I can't tell you the last time I had spam. But that sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, I made like egg and cheese with an avocado and some toast. It's like pretty solid breakfast. I'm still having my coffee, guys. I have this Charmander to Charizard mug that when you put the coffee in it, the fire turns red on the outside. Isn't that cool? Science, guys. Science. Not magic, science, you know? So now we can break this. Alright, now that we've already added all this unnecessary... Okay, it's gonna stay like that. And then like, I kind of appreciate it looking like this, you know? Maybe we'll put a lamp there. And maybe we'll do barren soil just in the back here. Allie, how are you this Friday? How's work so far? What did you have for breakfast? You had breakfast. Comment your breakfast in the chat. Also, breakfast is probably my favorite meal. Like, I enjoy breakfast the most. Because dinner always makes me feel, like, a little sick. Breakfast never makes me feel sick. Like, breakfast is always exactly what I want. Excuse me. Oh, there you go. I guess it can fit right here. Just breakfast for every meal. GG easy. Exactly. Like, I love dinner for breakfast. Breakfast for dinner. Breakfast for dinner. I had coffee for breakfast. Now, Allie. I'm not gonna lie. I vouch for that. Sometimes there's no appetite in the morning, but that's why you just make breakfast later. You know what I mean? I think having this wall back here is fine. I don't have... I'll never get over that. Making pancakes? I love pancakes. Words. Fried bologna? I have never had fried bologna before. I also can't remember the last time I had bologna. I used to bust down some bologna. Let's see this. You like that? No, because there's gonna be a gap. They're riding the roller coaster. The roller coaster does not work right now, guys. Also, wait. For those of you who weren't here before, look at my treehouse, which I guess we should keep working on this, huh? I just added that for fun. I'm not really committed to any of these projects at the moment. Hi, Momo. Hi, welcome in. Yes, daytime stream, morning stream. How are you doing, Momo? You know my tall. How heck, how tall are you? Gonna lurk? Okay. Bye, Ryan. Good luck on your stuff. Momo, babe, yourself. Hi, Arceus. Hi, Ark. How are you, friend? Yes, lurk. Fine. Welcome in. Just get your check-ins before you lurk. Get your check-in. Hi. Welcome back, Micah. Are you gonna break? 6'4". Holy shit, you're tall. That's crazy. I think I want the train to end up here. Is that crazy? Is that crazy, wild, and extreme? Wait. What am I doing? I wanted to make a platform. I low-key want to get rid of, because I have more huts to build. Like, I want to build... Oh, but it needs to be on the platform. Hi, Monte! Tito! Yes, come get your check-ins! Monte, how are you? Good morning, everybody! Wanted to come say hi, Tito. Okay, how many clients do you have today? Are you building a treehouse? Yes, I am building a treehouse. So I'm putting all my flying type Pokemon in here. I think this is it. I think I just need to make habitats around it too. So like add grass, you know, which I don't have any of, which great. That's lovely. Love that for me. Buenos dias, I'm good, thank you. How are you? I'm in a little meeting. Okay, yeah, come back soon. We'll be here. I have trees, right? Do I have trees I can put? So yeah, I think we're just gonna decorate now. And then just move in like Pidgey and Hoot Hoot here. And then have Noctowl and Pidgeotto. Star! Guys, these Stargazer 5000s here. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot I had that. Now it's gonna be, now I'm just gonna say that. Not gonna lie, she's cute. Look, this is what we did the last time we played Pokopia. This is what we worked on the whole time. Okay, let's just start decorating. Why not? This is really close to this. Like, that's so unfortunate, low-key. I wish that wasn't the case. Maybe we can just back it up. Back it up. You know. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Who made the rules? There's no rules. Fuck that. Nobody made the rules. There's no rules. As dimension. I like backing it up. Up, up. I got donuts. Form a line. Hold out your... Can I have a donut? Am I late for the donuts? I will say at first this game didn't look like one I'd want to play, but I'd watch. But seeing your treehouse, yeah, because it's like you literally can do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? Star, how are you today? How was your week? My week was really long. I'm very, very tired, and I have a pretty long day today. And a pretty long weekend, so we're just gearing up for it all. Tito, I'm so happy you're here. Sorry, wait. What did you say? Oh, sorry, my poor ass has bologna in my house. Girl. I love a cold cut. I just don't know if I go for the bologna, you know what I mean? I love ham. I like turkey. You know what else I haven't had in a minute? And I used to bust down some pastrami. Who knows whatever that was, but I like pastrami. Well, no. Momo, how are you doing? I'm good. I'm at work right now, and I want to go home. And my week was also rough. Tomorrow is the new day, Star. Literally, tomorrow is a new day, a fresh opportunity. There's this Ronnie girl that still hasn't gotten back to me either. Ooh. Well, bologna was my struggle meal, so going back to it feels like a treat. Ooh, yeah. I feel like pastrami, like any kind of. I just like sandwiches. I could bust down a sandwich. It doesn't matter what's inside of it. I love a sandwich. Guys, I never have enough PP. Just a joke. One big joke. I need to eat something, right? Can I eat a mushroom? I can. I guess I'll eat a salad. Why not? Oh, it powered up leafage. Do you think I can pull up grass from this? I don't know. Guys, I want to learn how to make vines because I still haven't mastered that. I still haven't mastered vines. Yeah. Anyway, we go back up there. Not that I should be doing this. Like, there's a whole stair system. Okay, let's see how the stairs work. Okay, wait. Okay, I kind of ate that. Look at that. And then you're in the treehouse where they're all gonna live. Okay, I'm here for this. And I think the train will have to come through here. And I think this is a big enough tunnel for this train. Ronnie's saying she's poor. She buys Uncrustables. I love Uncrustables. But I feel like I grew up on Uncrustables. But I like a crunchy peanut butter too. Like I used to eat just peanut butter sandwiches with a coffee. Ooh, I know what I'm making after stream. Let's see how much we can get done in what little time we have left. I know they're all sad to be here too. Cause I think I just want this to be like a picnic area maybe, or an overlook. Do I want to add more water? Like, can we have another waterfall? Do we have room for that? We should also probably get started on building these huts, huh? Crunchy PB. The hazel one? Ooh, I've never had the hazelnut ones. I also just like wasn't like, I don't know, I like Nutella for what it was, and then, you know, I kind of just prefer like peanut butter or chocolate, you know. I'll leave the hazelnut for my like my treats, like my candies and stuff, or a coffee. They're like bucks for. Yeah, they're. Yeah, we're going into the hut. But yeah, I put this ladder here because I think it's also like an easy way to get up here without having to. Okay, we need Tinkaton and another Pokemon. Let's see. Okay, let's get Tinkaton. Tinkaton! I don't even know where she is. She must be around if she appeared, she must be spawned. Oh. Oh, there she is. Tinkaton girl, come here. Okay, guys, tomorrow we're doing a duo day with Ryan Rosatoki. I think we're gonna be. Oh, I did assign her. Oh, live on the first floor. Oh, she was homeless. She was looking for a home. Follow me. Go. Yo, you know what? I wish more Pokemon did that. Like, there's empty houses. Just pick a house. Just go squat in one of them. I'm not picky. I don't really care where you live. I just want you around. We need somebody with chop ability, I think. Scyther? And, Hack-Slasha? I don't know. I don't remember what the... Look at them actually using this bridge! Like, I am so impressed. Like, I built it for that purpose. Like, to see them walk around. Here, him. I'll bring him. Haxorus. Even though Haxorus always... Oh. What's this guy's name? Guys? Fracture! See, as I approached him, I remembered. Alright. Is everyone following me still? Where's Tinkaton? Oh, there she is. Okay, come on, guys. Oh, wait. This way, actually. $11.26. Okay, that's fine. And then we'll assign Scyther there. Alright. Have fun building. I think they can't fit in there, so they're building it. Look at her walking away. Because she can't fit. She can't fit in there. So funny. Yes! Okay, yeah, tomorrow's the duo day. I don't have Uncrustables, but you know what? We got Uncrustables at home. The apple cider, excuse me? Apple cinnamon into this game, Tamagotchi has a hold on you. Is Tamagotchi free? Asking for a friend. I cannot play another sim game, but I can torture myself one more time. Do I have any stepping stones that I can place? Oh yeah, I do. 7. Okay. So let's just do this. Oh my god, Micah! 19 months! New alert! New alert! Thank you, Micah. Thank you for the resub. I appreciate you. It's not, but it's well worth it, in my opinion. Oh, okay. You think it's well worth it. I think, Micah, the way you felt about this game is kind of how I feel about that game. It's like, maybe I can just watch people play that game and just enjoy it from the sidelines. That's kind of how I feel about Tamagotchi Life. Back to the bitch who had a lot to say about me and the news, the press, the papers. What does that racist bitch say? What does that homophobic bitch say? got new alert for resubs. We just updated those. We're just gonna collect grass. I do hope they add new things in future updates, because sadly it does seem a bit repetitive. For Tamagotchi life, I see interesting. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun, so I'm not even... Okay, wait. I'm gonna steal these vines. Oh. Hi, Omar! Welcome in, Omar! Thank you for getting your check-in. 13 times, Omar? Hi. Welcome in. How was your day so far? How's work? Honestly, I'm there for the drama. Alright. Ooh, carrots. Ugh. Guys, I think that's like the worst part of this game, is that like the treasure is so repetitive. You know how many CDs I have? I don't need this many CDs. Oh, it's a new one. Okay, maybe I needed that CD. Okay, sorry, game. The one time I have to trash talk you. But yeah, I mean, it is an honest complaint. There are way too many CDs. I don't need that many. They should cap the CDs. I think that was even my critique of like Animal Crossing with the fossils. Like, they should cap fossils. Same thing here. I have so many fossils. Like, I'm just gonna start using them as decoration, I guess. Alright, 2 more minutes, and the hut will be finished. Hi, Peter. You needed that CD. I did. Okay, fine. I get it. Maybe there should be more CD. How are you doing, Peter? Peter, have you gotten your check-in? Welcome in. Did I miss you earlier? I'm sorry. Hi, babe. Welcome in. How are you doing, Peter? Yes, get your check-in. Doing okay, and oop, not yet. I love how everyone's like, sorry, fine, I'll check in. I'm sorry, guys. Don't be scared of me. Ooh, big stretch. Okay, I think they're done with the hut. Yeah. Or the den. Thank you. And take your time if you don't mind while you're here. Excuse me. While you're here, Tinkaton. Follow me. Can you build this one too? Yeah, thank you for the shout out for Peter. Alright, let's start placing decorations. Like, we're gonna just do a bunch of... Why does it sound like he's eating? else? Oh, we should definitely put grass up here. We're gonna have to wet this vine. Actually, some brown doesn't feel too bad on this. See, and then I don't know how to make more vines. Must get back to work. Okay, thank you so much, Micah. Yeah, we're not streaming for much longer. Right, meow. So that check-in, get it now. Stop. The mods, guys, the mods, they're fighting. They're fighting everyone. They're like, get the check-in, okay? No, I love that you guys really do honestly get the check-in. It makes it worth it, you know, to like put them in there, you know. I only have them there so that people can use them. Have a good poop. Micah fully lying about work because he actually has to poop is crazy. Okay, we need to get more wood planks, and more grass, right? I forgot how great this music is too. Okay, I'm running out of vines, guys. I have to learn how to make vines, because that'll change everything. Check in or else. we're gonna have to do this. What do you mean, Hack? What do you mean, sir? What did I say? I was like, this will be done in no time. Yeah, Tank Master literally reduces the time of anything. Oh, there's no more PP, guys. You know, it didn't tell me that time. It didn't want me to be embarrassed. I'm baked as fuck. Ignore me. Well. No, I think. Oh, this should be grass. Yeah, we needed to make this bigger. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Guys, I always break everything. There you go. I need room to breathe down there, you know? Oh well, no. Is that the one where I make grass? I should make both sides grass, huh? Just a bit more! I don't know why I said it like that, but I swore that's how she said it. Is that not how she said it? No more PP. Like, unfortunately, I never have enough PP in this game. Look at that. Oh! This needs to go away soon. That's a wrap. Look, it's done. Oh, look how cute and little it is. Okay, I have to decorate it. Yeah, absolutely. And then we're gonna be able to decorate. Okay, we should try to finish this before stream ends. Let's finish that. Let's finish decorating the habitats for the bird Pokemon, and then we'll end stream. We'll add oh, not Magnemite. Oh, I can't put it there. Interesting. Just make it cutesy, you know? Just adding some whimsy to the treehouse. Okay, that's enough flowers, I guess. Your Pokemon after breaking stuff? Okay, look. No, literally, it's them being like, and where'd it go? Trees around. Okay, maybe I should move the flowers from there then. Wait, I kind of live for the trees in the tree. Is that crazy, kooky fun? I mean, it's whimsy, guys. It's not a real tree. Come on. It's made out of blocks. Oh, wait! Okay, it's kind of a Treetopia. Wait, I'm kind of onto something. Hold on. It's kind of a Treetopia. This is exactly my vision. My vision come to life. Okay, Pidgey. Okay. Pidgey, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt. Follow me. We are gonna move you out, okay? We're taking all this grass. Oh. Nope. Hello. There you go. Pidgeotto? Okay. I can't use it while Magnemite? Okay. Pidgeotto! Come home, darling. We're moving you. Follow me. You dummies, this is not a real tree. That's exactly why I have to give myself... Noctowl, just the person I wanted to see. Hey, Noctowl, come here. Hey! 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 You see me jumping? Yes! Noctowl, come say hi to me, please. Please. No! I can't do it! I know what to do. Follow me. And then hoo-hoo. I forgot I could transform. The duck reminds me of my Uncle Frank? What duck? Hoot hoot. Yeah, come up here, hoo hoo. We need to talk. And then we just steal all their stuff. A robbery. So I guess that's like the best way to do it. It's like move them when you're ready to actually place their stuff. And I'm ready to like move them in. I can like take these trees out. Oh, interesting. Wait, what's in the way? That? Dense vines. Hardy creeping vines that cling securely to things that like... Oh. It fits now. Where do we put it here? Actually no, I don't think they'll fit, you know? So maybe we'll put the tree there. I think they'll definitely fit here. Put the tree back here. Oh, why can't it fit? Oh, is it because it's too tall? Oh, interesting. Okay. Does it fit there still? It does. Fit here? It does. But I don't like that. I kind of still like it back here. So maybe we'll just keep it here. And we'll move these flowers. Here. There we go. Guys, we fixed it. We have beds and stuff in our inventory at the moment. No, we just have stuff to decorate. So let's just decorate first. I know we have a mushroom lamp back there, but can we fit Oh my god, this is so cute. Guys, I think I kind of ate this up. Okay, I don't think I like this tree up here. Not enough. Don't you love when you completely forget about your plans that don't directly involve you, but impact you either way? I need to be better. Oh my god. What do you mean? Somebody needs you somewhere and you just weren't there? Or is it something that you wanted to do at first and now you're like, wait, do I really have to do this? So yeah, let's just place grass places because honestly, we can make their habitats anything, you know? So I think we should place just grass. And now we can make this Pidgeotto's home, you know? Oh! Noctowl just automatically chose that home. Okay. You know what? I respect that. You decided for yourself. What's up, Aries? How are you doing? Hola, mi buddy. I hella forgot that Omar's going to soccer game tomorrow. Oh, then now you need a plan for Omar not to be home. Hi, Ryan. Welcome in. And Hoot Hoot? No, I don't want Hoot Hoot living there. No, I don't want you living there. I want Pidgeotto to live there. Actually, we can split up with Noctowl. Let's split up, because you have a home now. Let's go get bedding and stuff from storage. That's not it. That's the same one. Okay, here's a bed, here's a hammock. Oh, see, stuff that we can use to decorate. Okay. Yeah, we can put some of this furniture in. The house is there. Let's put some hedges. Ooh, let's see if we can. Alright, let's see what else we have. Okay, Aries, enjoy your nap. Get your nap. Honestly, get your life. Get your life with that nap. Thank you for the lurk. And thank you for checking in. I hope you have a great nap. Oh. I forgot. I really am kind of thoughtless in what I'm looking for. All this music. My badges. Let's see. Like, I want to see how we can decorate this. I think it'd be interesting. I should probably, like, build stuff that I need, but I really don't. I don't know what I need. Okay. I have two. Okay, I have beds. I mean, they're the small birds, right? So, small iron beds is fine. Do they have a table? We need to add more perches. You know what? Maybe we should build something. Gonna have you tabbed? Yes. Bye. Of course. Go be a Mari. Mari yadi yadi yadi. I don't have any twine. What? I really don't have any twine. That's crazy. Oh, whoops. Girl. I know you want to talk to me. Oh my god. Pidgeotto, please get off of it. Yeah, like, why are you all up in the building? I literally have to walk away to come back. Okay, maybe we do 2 resort beds. Okay. We'll just customize our homes. It's all... Oh. And 2 resort stools, that's fine with me. And then... I feel like I have tables. Add a tire toy. Honestly, a birdhouse. Oh! Birdhouse. Yeah. Yeah, like a sign like this I think would be cute. Oh my god, maybe we can give them a bird bath? Oh, not 98 of them. Oh my god, that would be crazy. What else can we do? No. You can't make anything else, huh? Okay. Let's go decorate. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Resort bed. Oh, I forgot how small these are. Good thing it's for the little ones. I have to put one more piece of furniture. I don't want Pidgeotto in there. Hi, Mr. Beardington. Hello there, not into sticky. Hi, Mr. Beardington. How are you? Welcome in. Get your check-in. We're just about wrapping up stream 2. It's pretty short one today. We're just gonna finish decorating these homes and then call it. You're catching us right at the end. So happy to see you. You have a good week? Aw, I'm good, mister. I'm good, mister. I'm glad you're good. Oh, did I only have one perch? I guess. A lantern that doesn't work, maybe? This lantern's not gonna work in here. Okay, that's fine. Pidgeotto, please move! I hope you had the greatest week, Mr. Beardington. And I'm so happy to see you again. Okay, let's add birdhouses. Oh, actually, Pidgey. Want to move in here? I'm super sure. Hell yeah. Now come over here. Want to move in here? Yeah, you can. Great. And now Pidgeotto can live up here. Pidgeotto, come here. Want to move in here? Sure is, pal. Alright, let's decorate what we have. We do have to go back and make another perch. But we have these bird houses. There is a perch there. I just want to make one more. One birdhouse might be fine. Maybe I can take the perch out of Pidgey's house then. I'll put the birdhouse in here first. Oh wait, no. Hey Ditto. No, I don't want to talk to you. It's in Hoo's house. I'm gonna put the birdhouse. Hoot Hoot's house. Hoot Hoot's house. Damn. Could your name be? Now, why are you sitting on the chair? You got a bed right there. You know what? That's why I'm taking your perch away. Oh. Interesting. You know what? And that'll be your home. Alright, let's keep decorating. Very cute, very cute. I like a little bell. Let's put a sign up somewhere. Honestly, instead of this fence, maybe? Oh my god, how cute is this? When you enter, it's the little wooden hut. And then these guys will just be out and about. Like, that's exactly what I wanted. Like, it looks exactly, maybe not exactly, but I think I got the vision there, you know? We should put other lights places. I guess there's a lot of light, huh? Let's see, maybe less lights. Put this perch somewhere. So there's a perch down there. Maybe I'm gonna do this. Maybe in a different level, like this. That's cool. I like that. I like that. What else can we add? Add some more campfires. Why not? I think that's a lot of light, actually. And somebody has to come up here and light it all. Actually, another torch maybe here. Just here. Just here. Oh, those are red, huh? I can't plant that. I don't mind that. The random tree up here. Maybe we don't need a second tree. I think the one tree is fine until we finish the rest of the tree house. Bonita. I think I like it too. Ali, this is like the most confident I think I've felt about a build. Like, look at how pretty it looks. I kind of ate. Just a little. Just a tad. And then I wanted a tire toy here just so they had something else to play with. Oh, look, Shellis is up here. No, I don't. Put this here. Shellis, what did you have to say? Huh? I think we'll move the campfire here. But we have to light this stuff. I kind of like this. I'm actually really happy with all of this. Oh, and then the water basin. Oh my god, I completely forgot about the bird bath. Honestly, it fits perfectly right here. There you go. Look at that. Can we fit some rocks? These are too big, I think. I think this is too big. I don't think we need rocks. Okay, well, there you have it. Our little tree biome. Look at this. It's so cute. I'm very happy with it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. This tree is not going anywhere. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. Seeing some of this. Try connecting to this total. I did. How does the duckweed look on here? Oh, sure. I don't mind that. Why not? Just make it even greener. Whole perch there, by the way. Okay. And everyone's all moved in. Oh, happy about it. I think we did well. We did really well. Free house complete. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for the raid, Taco. I'm gonna go back to being productive for the next 2 hours that I have. And let's see. Oh, we can rate today. It's live. Green is live. We can rate green. Green is playing a game called Chicken Police. Let's rate green. Since Taco rated earlier, and we'll just keep it within the homies, you know? Yeah, let's go hang out with Green. Thank you all for being here during this building of the treehouse, finishing the treehouse. I think we finished it today. And I'm very happy with what we turned out with. We're gonna work on some other stuff the next stream. We're gonna be duoing tomorrow with Ryan, doing 2v8s. Not gay Ryan, Rosa Toki Ryan. And then on Sunday we're gonna return to Until Dawn. So after work on Sunday, I'll be back playing until dawn and getting through that game again, just so we can finish that up. I think that would be fun. Thank you for being here, Ryan. Thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for the raid. Thanks for all the lurkers and everybody who came and checked in today. I really appreciate you. Make sure you copy that raid message and or any of the three raid messages really, and then let's go show some love to Green. They're a homie, and if you're not following them,